Hey everybody, this is Grace, and I was felt like coming outside and to do videos until it gets too hot and my camera gets too hot. But I was thinking a lot today about people who are wanting so bad to go back to work, and um, apparently a lot of people aren't getting their unemployment now. That's a bad issue. But what about other things that they could do in the meanwhile? Before they can go back to work, because you got to think about things like, if you go back to work, I'm going to do a video on this. If you go back to work and your boss sees there's not enough, um, you know, customers are getting mad because of that, or there's just not enough customers and they start firing people. Okay, is that going to mess with your unemployment? Is anything, like if you took classes, would it mess with your unemployment? That's something to check. Definitely. If you take any classes to learn a new skill, any kind of skill, like online classes, that would be, of course, and different things like that. But what about DIYs? I was thinking about DIYs. A lot of people are into this these days, of all kinds. My dad was one. He lost a leg to diabetes. My dad's passed many years ago, and he lost a leg from the knee down to diabetes, and he had been a carpenter. He had been a lot of things, salesman and all that before then, but he was actually an accountant too. But he lost one leg to diabetes. He was about to lose his other foot when he died. But in the meanwhile, he learned a new trade, which he had a little shop, and the government helped him with the machinery, and gave him some. It wasn't a lot, but they gave him some, and he started doing woodworking from home. And he made things, painted on them. Actually, so many people were shocked that he did this. But like little things that you have in the kitchen for like paper towels and stuff. And he sold them at craft stores. These days, you can sell them online, or you put an ad in the newspaper that you make these things, and however that's going to work. And he sold a lot. He did a really good, for him at that point, a good living by doing that. And I think about things like that, or people who make wreaths and all kinds of, different DIY things, and they could sell those. Of course, they'd have to follow whatever guidelines it is at the time whenever they're doing it. The stay-at-home orders, 6 feet distancing and all that. But yeah, I was thinking about this. One thing before all this, I'm saying this because one of the things that I was thinking of, it's kind of like being like the Amish. But one of the things I was making videos on before it was about how hard it was to find good furniture. I'm serious. It was so unbelievably hard to find good furniture. Even the old furniture that I could find, like at, they have a Salvation Army store here, and they sell old stuff. It was still cheap. Everything was very cheaply made in stores. I went to different stores. Like, you buy it, and this was kind of expensive. Next thing you know, it's going to be falling apart, and you have to replace it. I think there might be I don't know. I really don't know now, of course, that there would be a good demand for this. But think of all the different things that a person can make from home. So they are stay-at-home kind of jobs too. And they can send them out. Even things like people who are good at making blankets, quilts, seamstresses. Yeah, try saying that. But I think I got the word right even. But a variety of things, and just have people do their own measurements, and do them from home, different designs. Not everything so much from corporations, but individuals do their own. And yeah, it's probably going to be more expensive, and they're going to have to get their materials from somewhere, right? And there could be all kinds of pitfalls. Like I said, always make sure, is it going to mess with your unemployment? Or if it would it mess with it if you did it to get a stockpile for after you run out of unemployment or something like that? And to have a good stockpile. What else are you going to be doing with your time? You know what I'm saying? Okay, now I can say that I am not good at that way of being creative at all. I know that. I tried when I was younger, much younger, when my dad was doing that. I tried to make my own little things to sell at, it wasn't flea markets, what are they called? Craft shows and craft malls or craft stores, I don't know. They had a lot back then, and I think it was a good time for that to be returned to it. And let's see, what else? I mean, if you think about what is in your home, what's in your house right now that you could create from home. I was going to say, especially not not groceries, but think about spice blends. I'm telling you, I have been trying different things for like steak, and I don't use it just on steak. I'll use it on any meat that I'm going to put in the oven. I've been trying out different ones. Some of them are just, they say steak. Some will say steak and other meats. And that kind of blend, wow, some of it can be so great. And Adam said, boy, this is real good. Let's get more of this. Speaking of Adam, he walks out the door. Okay, where was I? He interrupted me. But, yeah, think about these kinds of things. And what could you do? I mean, of course, you're going to have to get the materials, and like you'd have to get the spices from somewhere. And you'd probably have to check with, like, what would it be? I think many people just call it health department, and then find out if not from them or where else, and see how it sells. See, what are you going to do with your time? Isn't it a good time to really learn something new and to do something new? Do something if this kind of thing happens again. I mean, the way that at this time I'm talking April 23rd. 2020, we had this coronavirus, COVID-19, and do we really think that's going to be the only one ever again? So in times like this, I mean, the times are changing, we know that, and we've had more and more, it seems like, these kinds of things, the SARS, the H1N1, whatever it was, and wasn't there more than one? I don't remember, but so many of them, and we were more like, we weren't, people were talking about this is hyped up. I think before, the better way to look at it is that it was played down before. With all the deaths due to flus. This isn't a flu, it's not a flu, but think about all the deaths just due to flu. And it was kind of played down. So if you're going to be called conspiracy theorist with it, think of that way. That this should have been more. And I've been thinking a lot about what other kind of things to do it from home, People who can work from home, I really think they need to continue working from home. The people who are already working from home, like Adam's working from home. And we're all seeing that because of the stay-at-home orders, whatever way they have it, lockdown, whatever you call it where you are, that it's better for the earth. Today's Earth Day? Yeah, I think today is. Right? Or was it yesterday? Days are blending. A little bit of Groundhog Day. That is the problem I'm seeing is the Groundhog Day. Before, for me, I'm a homemaker now and have been for a few years. It was more like Groundhog Week because he worked 5 days. Then there was a weekend, so it was Groundhog Week, over and over. Now it's definitely Groundhog Day. So, some things to break up the day, do that. But this in itself, I think this would. I can't say this 100%. These are just my opinions. I could be wrong on all of it. But I'd really wonder how great that would be from people. Open up your garage, or if you don't have a garage, you got a room, extra room, or even a corner of a room. You can make into your little place to do whatever, if it's the garage. You got a whole garage, some people do. My dad actually, he had a little, when I was a kid, I remember it was a little shack, really. And that got torn down, but it was in the backyard, but it had a building attached to it that he built, wood. It wasn't any kind of metal. Back then, everything was done with wood, real wood. And he tore that down and built one in the front, which one of my sisters, after he passed, she made it into her little country cabin. But, he built something like that outside. These days, they make them pre-made for you. You can buy those if you can. If you can afford it. Not everybody can afford. Not even everybody can even afford to start DIYing. That's true. Hopefully they can. More people. So instead of just going out and crying and complaining. I know this is something we should all cry and complain about in a way. We can't stop it. We can't get rid of it. It's going to be around forever. And but until they get the vaccine, I'm not a healthcare professional, so I'm not going to go down that road with it. But to learn something new in case of another one happens, and people who want to be, people who feel, they don't want to, get unemployment. I don't understand that. People who don't want any help, I really don't understand that. I would think more if a conspiracy theorist kind of thing on that is, are people putting that in your mind for a reason other than what you might think? Telling people, oh, they can sign this thing that says that they don't want any treatment. Is somebody telling you that? Think about it. Like a troll would tell you, and sit back and laugh because you're falling into that. I would seriously think about that. And don't take the what is it called, the stimulus check, or don't take unemployment. Who's telling you that? Really, check the source, and plus check are you going to find the original source? Really, are they trying to? Yeah, they're manipulating you in a bad way. You should be taking that. Remember what the Bible says about pride. Yeah, and don't make God send around the rescue boat the third time. You know the story. And if not, I already have one. It just depends on which channel I put this on. I think I'm going to put this on my original one, so I'll try to remember. I don't ever remember to link that video. But you know the story about God sending the rescue boat around 3 times. Yeah. And really seriously think about where you get this information. When I heard that kind of conspiracy, that kind of thing of, oh, we're not going to accept money, and we don't want that money, that's what comes to my mind. Is somebody's filling you with BS, and don't take it. Okay, while I'm on that subject, yeah, you hear people say this about they don't want to, that people shouldn't want to rely on unemployment during this pandemic. I mean, seriously. While I'm on that, another reason somebody might be telling you that is because they don't want there to be, stores closed. Let's put that, because they want to be out and about, and you see what I'm saying? They want to be out there and like as if nothing had happened. Well, something happened and it changed the world. It has changed the world. But they're in denial, or they just don't want to believe it. They want everything to return back to normal. They want to tell you, oh, they're taking away your freedoms and all this stuff. Yeah, I got a video I'm going to make about taking away their freedoms. These are the same people. You can hear them say this. They say they can't take away our freedom. It's the people who are somehow, vulnerable, have these other conditions, and the elderly, well, they just need to stay at home. They're telling people that they can't be told to stay at home, but yet they can tell the people they think need to stay at home. Think about that. Yeah, now, is that the person you want to get your information from, and what you should do as far as your money, getting money from that other people are getting, unemployment, stimulus check, this kind of stuff? I don't think so. Anyway, but I think this is a good time. I mean, if you can afford it, I would definitely not take food out of a baby's mouth to go and buy your DIY supplies, and I wouldn't go just buying DIY supplies. If it's about work, that's a different story. If it's about making money to support your family, it's a different story. Remember, check to make sure it doesn't mess with your unemployment, anything that you do. But seriously, just to go out there and make them for your own home, I don't know. That's not about work. So I'd make it about work. It's a job. And you're going to sell them in whatever way. Like I said, this could come on, this could, people have already been doing it. People have already been making money from this kind of thing. But this could really push it. You don't have to send that boat around 3 times, Now, that of course is assuming that you have a talent, or you have creativity. You don't want to go stealing people's ideas. Remember that. I did a video about that. About people who steal people's DIY ideas and claim them as their own. It's usually the more popular people who make more money. But like, if you're like me, you don't have that kind of skill. But I just started thinking about this again. I mean, there's so many things to do. I could actually make beads, not make the actual beads, but bead necklaces, something like that. I have so many. I've been collecting different beads. I was collecting different beads. I'm definitely going to start doing it again. If and when this kind of clears up, it won't be for a while. No matter how much you want to demand it, it's not going to be for a while. Come on, let's get real. Wake up, snap out of it. Yeah. That's me speaking as a sociologist, all this is. But, yeah, I mean, there are all kinds of different things. And like I was saying, to put it in your local newspaper, okay? If they still deliver a newspaper, if it's online newspapers, your local one. And there are also all these other online places you can put, online stores. I really think that this is a thing that really needs to kick off, and they might be more expensive, like I said, but seriously, small businesses, that's what it becomes, a small business. And I know here they used to have small business classes you would have to meet, but I'm thinking a lot of things are going to be online now, and you could learn about small businesses, how to do the tax forms, how to advertise. They even had how to advertise online classes. I don't know what they have now. I haven't checked it for any reason and had no reason. But I know a lot of this, people get really annoyed because they say it's so much work. Well, it may be, and it might pay off. Nobody can guarantee that everything's going to pay off. Do your homework. Check it out. Find out what's good, what's not. People are complaining. What are they getting out of it? Join some online groups. Find out. Just don't steal people's ideas. That is my pet peeve, when people steal other people's ideas. Seriously. I'm looking at my notes here. And the other part I want to do a video about is, when they have the other kind of stay-at-home jobs and forcing people to come to the office and work instead. That's got to stop. It does have to stop. And I might make a whole separate video, or I might put it with this one, or maybe not with this one. We'll see. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to put it as some people I know would put it years ago. They'd basically say, stop wallowing around in self-pity and get to work. But really, certainly, you have something that's very creative. And I do want to say this, remember to check to see if it's going to mess with your unemployment. But also, like when people steal people's ideas, there's also that you can flood. There can be just too many of one thing. All right, like wreaths. I mean, I've seen so many people. There was like a little stage of everybody making wreaths. Okay, and I don't think it's ended. How many wreaths? I have a hard time saying that word. How many do people need? Seriously. I know it's not just for Christmas. There's a lot of activity going on behind me, like Adam and the dogs. But how many do people need? Come on, be more creative and not just a copycat. Okay, be more creative. What else would people like? How about things for people's yards? How about those cute little things that you put flowers in? Hang outside your window. You've seen them, those. You've probably seen people have them. There's so many different things that you can make that go inside the home, outside of the home for people. That very crafty, very creative. Think outside the box. Okay, like I said, don't just do something because somebody else is doing it, and don't steal their idea of how to do it. Come up with your own. And then you have something to be proud about, in that way. And you don't have to go around thinking, oh, I took somebody else's idea. And I don't think the people that really do that, they don't care. But yeah, it's not a good idea. And there's so many things that people can come up with. So what would you come up with? I mean, no, maybe don't say that, because people like to steal people's ideas. Anyway, I'm wrapping this up. I'll talk to you on another video.